Metroid is one of my favorite video game series. And to be quite honest with you, I think it might very well be my favorite Nintendo game, series. And that's coming from somebody who grew up loving and playing the hell out of all the Legend of Zelda games. But, I don't know, I think I might be just kind of done with Legend of Zelda, ever since Breath of the Wild. I made a video about that, I'm not going to get into it. But Metroid's never really let me down, knock on wood. And hopefully it never does, knock on wood. Now, I've loved just about every Metroid game I've played. Now, Hunters, I'm not a big fan of. I never played the first game to its completion, and I never really played Super Metroid all that much. But I've played a lot of them, and I've really, really enjoyed all of them, especially all the Prime games. And the GBA ones like Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission were great. Absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and make a list. It's not going to have all the Metroid games on it because it wouldn't be fair for me to include games that I haven't played all the way through or played enough to where I actually feel confident saying, I love this game or I fucking hate this goddamn game. So I'm not going to include the first game, and I'm not going to include Super Metroid, and there's a lot of fucking Metroid games, but I'm going to include just all the ones that I personally really fucking enjoyed. Here's a list of the ones that I'm going to include on the list. If your favorite didn't end up on the list, that didn't mean I didn't like it. It's more or less I didn't end up fucking playing it or something. I don't know, maybe I'll get around to playing just about all of them that I can, but so this game is on the Nintendo DS, the handheld. And I'm not saying that Metroid games can't work on the handheld. I think they're really fucking good on the handheld. You got Fusion, which is on the Game Boy Advanced, and the same with Zero Mission, and I fucking love those games. They're great because they're side-scroller games. They work best that way. But this game took the Prime route, meaning it's first-person shooter. And I have to say, the Nintendo DS does not excel at first-person shooters, at least in my opinion. Now, just like the Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass that had an over-reliance on the goddamn touchscreen, which is almost as bad as the fucking Wiimotes, this game sucks because of that, because of the control. Don't use the damn touchscreen to move the character.
So this is the game. There's the top screen, obviously. You move Samus. But guess how you get her to turn? You use the bottom screen, see? You touch it with the fucking stylus. Whose idea was this? This is the worst fucking idea I've ever seen. I hate this. Now, I'm left-handed, so I gotta use the stylus in this hand. Because, I don't know, if I use it in... This is a me problem, but if I use it in my right hand, it just feels really weird. It feels I don't know. I hate it. I fucking hate it. So I use my left hand. Now, thankfully, you can actually change it to where you can move Samus. Instead of using the direction buttons, you use the little number buttons to move her. Which is equally just strange, because I'm not used to that. I hate this. I really don't like this game. I had to use a goddamn action replay game thingy to even cheat and be able to actually beat this game. That's how much I didn't really like it. I'm sorry for you Hunter fans out there, but I'm not a fan. No. Just no. Guys, I'm not doing it.
Okay, before anyone crucifies me, I just want to say that I love the story in this game and the concept. Samus gets an upgrade to her suit, and it allows her to use the Phazon, which is basically the Prime series main antagonist, kind of. It's like a substance that's super evil and shit like that, and Dark Samus is harnessing its power and whatever. I don't know. Anyways, so she can use the suit to use Phazon and go into hyper mode, which is basically this really crazy ass mode that you can just annihilate every damn thing. You can just mow shit down. But if you stay in it too long, then you start to become corrupt, and you have to hurry up and like get all the phazon out because it only lasts for a certain amount of time. And as you progress through the game, Samus is getting corrupted by the phazon. Like, she's got phazon in her, and she's slowly getting more and more corrupted as the game continues. And a really interesting detail is, like, usually, you know how in the Prime games you can like choose a charge beam and shoot the wall, and it'll like show a reflection of Samus in the visor. It's always a nice little detail. But in this, it'll show Samus's face, but as the game progresses, you can see like this phazon and shit coming up over her face, and it's just a really nice detail that I can't believe they added. So the story's great. There's a lot of interesting characters. Samus is great as always, and you get to have a nice showdown that's kind of anticlimactic with Dark Samus finally. So what's my biggest gripe about this game, and why is it so low on this list? The fucking Wii motion controls. This shit was created and devised by Satan. I am sure of it. Nintendo's like, hey, how can we change up our games for the Wii? We gotta really change it up for this next generation. And Satan showed up and he's like, hey guys, use motion controls. People will love that shit. And they're like, well, that's a pretty neat idea. I guess we can try that. They really, oh god, I hate motion control, guys. I really fucking do. Like, that's the main reason I cannot stand Skyward Sword. Like, I love The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, but it's just a really hard game to go back and play. And that's why this game, that's why I don't like this game. Well, it's not that I don't like it. It's just I like it a hell of a lot less than the other Prime games. All I want to do when I play a goddamn game, I just want to grab the fucking controller. It's just a regular controller, you know. And I just want to play it, you know, just like you're playing a regular fucking video game. I don't want to have to swing my goddamn arms, have to plug in the nunchuck, and have the damn thing keep disconnecting because the damn thing's a clunky piece of shit that barely fucking works. And the fucking, I'm like looking at the ground, the character's looking at the ground because the motion control doesn't fucking work right because it's a big piece of shit. That's pretty much the main reason I don't like it. Also, the final boss sucks. I know I'm not the only one who's griped about this. The final boss sucks ass. And that's inexcusable because the final boss in the first game and the final boss in Metroid Prime 2 were great. They were super climactic. They were really fucking difficult the first time you played it. This is just a joke. It doesn't help how you're stuck in hyper mode, which basically means that you deal a fuck ton of damage, even to Dark Samus. Dark Samus gets hurt by phazon. She's fucking made by phazon. Like, what the fuck's happening here? In Metroid Prime 2, the first time you fight Dark Samus, she does not take this much goddamn damage. And that's early on in the fucking game. In this game, this is the final boss, and it's like a 3-parter. And you fight Dark Samus first, you beat the shit out of her because she sucks, and then she like goes into the fucking Aurora unit, which is like this big fucking, I don't even know. It'd take too long to explain it. She gets in the fucking Aurora unit and tries to use that to kill you, and then you kill that thing too because it's easy, except when the fucking Wii motion controller doesn't fucking work. But then it works, and then you beat it, and that's the game. Yeah. I really, really hope that this is a reality. Because I want them to remake this shit, make it without goddamn motion controls. God damn it. See, I'm in the camp that I don't really care. I don't really care if there's Metroid Prime 4. If there is, great. If not, make this. Do it, Nintendo. Come on. Do it.
Do it! Just do it! Just do it!
So this is technically Samus's first venture into 3D. And, you know, just like Ocarina of Time, hot damn, this is fantastic. Like, this is a fucking great game. It's a damn good first-person shooter, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. I do think the story is severely lacking. Like, there's almost no real story. Basically, the story is Samus investigates a ship that is supposedly infested with space pirates, and she finds Ridley. She ends up losing her powers, escapes the ship. A meteor hits the planet that's nearby, a place called Talon, and Samus has to go inspect, like, the ship that crashes there that she was on. And so she goes there. She lost her powers, by the way, but that's not really important. She gets the powers back. Anyways, she's on Talon, and she finds Space Pirate. She finds Ridley. She finds like this fucking mausoleum, and it's like the place that is needed to access the impact site, like the place where the meteor struck. For some reason you gotta go through there to access the meteor. And once she finds the meteor, she figures out that it was like an experimental thing that like the space pirates were like doing something with, and it has the Metroid Prime in it, and she gotta kill it, and she kills it. And that's pretty much the story. Basically, I probably butchered like the whole thing, but that's like right off the top of my head, like fully abridged version. It's not very interesting of a story, but the gameplay is fucking top notch. Everything works the way it's supposed to work in a first-person shooter. You actually feel like you're in the place of Samus inside that awesome fucking power armor. It's great. And you even got a bunch of suit upgrades too. Now sure, they mostly just changed the color, but look at that black one. Oh, fuck. That's the Phazon suit, of course. You know, Phazon's the main bad guy after all. Even though it's the thing that the Metroid Prime produces. But guess what? Just like Dark Samus, it's weak to Phazon. Now, the game sets up for an obvious sequel because they knew this game would do well, and they were goddamn right. The fucking Metroid Prime's just like, give me that black suit. That thing looks fucking cool as shit. So yeah, it steals her Phazon suit, and it like blows up, and Samus has to escape. But you know, unlike most Metroid games, you don't actually have to, you know, escape yourself. Samus just kind of gets the fuck out of there herself. But yeah, that's pretty much the game. Not really a whole lot to say about it. That's kind of why it's at number 4 on the list. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic game. It's just, I don't enjoy it as much as the ones coming up.
Just do it!
Fun fact, I literally just played this game. That's right, I just played this game that was released in 2004 on the Game Boy Advance for the first time like 5 fucking days ago. And it's a fucking incredible game. My god, I can't believe I missed this game. I played Fusion, which is on the GBA, and it's an amazing game as well. But I can't believe I never fucking thought to touch this game. In fact, I don't even remember hearing anything about the game. I mean, I knew it existed, but I never thought to play it or look it up or anything. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? So, the game is basically, from what I can tell, it's kind of like, almost like a remake of the very first game, where you had to go fight Kraid, the big fat fucky dragon dude, and you gotta go fight Ridley, the big screaming dinosaur pterodactyl looking motherfucker, and you gotta go fight Mother Brain. It's a brain, and I thought that would have been the end of the game. Because, you know, it's called Zero Mission, so I figured, well, they called it Zero Mission because it's like a remaster of the first game. You know, it's like the first mission. But no, the game continues after that. So Samus barely escapes the, of course, self-destruct after killing Mother Brain, because this is Metroid. And then she gets attacked by a bunch of space pirates. And she crash lands on this planet called Chozodia, which, if you don't know, in Metroid, the Chozo are these alien dudes who raised Samus. And they basically trained her to become a warrior, like a bounty hunter that she is now. And they made her that awesome kick-ass power armor that she always wears. But now she's lost her power armor and she's stranded on this planet with a bunch of space pirates running around. And this is where the game does like a 180, where it actually becomes kind of like a stealth game. And it's got a real nice little creepy theme to it because you can't be caught by these space pirates. And of course there's this ominous music that plays that whenever you get seen by a space pirate, then they'll run after you and the music like amps up and it gets all crazy and shit, and basically they'll kill you really fucking quick because you don't have your armor. and the only thing Samus can use is a stun gun, which doesn't work very well on space pirates. It only stuns them for like 2 fucking seconds. And of course you get through the big old mothership, and you get to the Chozo ruins, which of course is just swarming with the damn things. And it gets really goddamn hard to escape them. Like if you get caught, you have a chance to escape, but god damn, it's nearly impossible here. If you get caught, you're basically fucked. Like, you can try to outrun them, but whenever you go to another screen, they always seem to just pop up on the edge, and they're faster than you, because of course they are. Now, this part here is a nice change of pace, because it feels like the game just turns into a horror game. Once you make it to, like, the center of the little mausoleum place, you actually get some, like, nice, interesting memories of Samus being raised by these Chozo dudes, which look like giant bird people. I can't believe I've never seen this shit before. I can't believe I missed this whole fucking game. Well, anyways, after that, you have to fight this big Chozo Guardian looking dude. He's really easy. All you have to do is just shoot him when his ball glows. If you shoot the ball when it shows a reflection of Samus, then that just hurts you instead. But yeah, he's really fucking easy. After you beat him, he gives Samus some awesome fucking upgrades. So Samus gets her Varia suit back, but she also gets 3 new upgrades. So she gets a plasma beam, which is this fucking overpowered beam that just like cuts through enemies. And she gets the gravity suit, which is this awesome purple looking suit that basically lets you move freely in any environment. And she gets a space jump, which is this fucking jump that allows you to jump continuously in the air. It's fucking incredible. And after this point, the music changes to this fucking badass heroic music, and now you get to go back and cut through those fucking space pirates that were giving you a bunch of shit earlier. And it's just fucking incredible. Just the shift in tone is just awesome. It makes you feel like a badass, and it makes Samus feel that much more heroic. The final boss is Metal Ridley, and he's definitely not a fucking pushover compared to regular Ridley. He just non-stop just goes ape shit on your ass, even with all your upgrades. And the only place that'll hurt him is this little tiny fucking spot on his fucking chest that you have to shoot a missile at or a charge beam at. And of course he has his hand in the way half the damn time, and his big fucking elongated beak gets in the way the other half. Now, I died a couple times against this guy, and he's definitely the hardest boss in the game. And guess what? Guess what happens after you beat this guy? This is the final boss of the game. This is Metroid that we're talking about. So take a guess what happens after you fight this guy and beat him. You have to escape from a self-destruct, because of course you do. My only fucking real complaint with this game is the fact that I never fucking played it until now. God damn, I'm stupid. Well, that and the game is a little bit on the shorter side, unless you go for the 100% collection rating. But aside from that, the game is fucking fantastic. It even looks fucking amazing for it being on the Game Boy Advance in 2004.
Just do it!
Fun fact, this is the first Metroid game I've played, and it's the main reason why I'm into it today. But I still don't think it's nostalgia that is the reason why this game is this high up on the list. It's because this game is just that fucking incredible. See, I know that all the Metroid games have always had this kind of ominous, scary vibe to them. Even the Prime games have this kind of scary tone about them. There's always something subtle, but this game is basically a fucking horror game. So the story's simple. Basically, Samus gets infected by a parasite known as the X parasite and nearly dies until she's given the Metroid vaccine. Whatever the hell that is. Anyways, after she recovers from the parasite, she now has the ability to absorb parasites, but she's lost all of her armor abilities because of course she has. And of course now she has to get them back throughout the entire game. She has to recover them from these other parasites. And the parasites can like take the form of pretty much anything that they infect. Like if they infect a dog, then they'll basically become, it's kind of like the Thing. That's basically it. It's like the Thing. Only a little bit less horrifying. Probably my favorite part in the game is just the fact that Samus's old armor that was infected by the parasite, is now basically running amok on the station, and occasionally it'll show up to scare the shit out of you, or to chase you, which basically it will kill you very fucking quickly, and you can't hurt it at all because it's a hell of a lot stronger than you are. It's basically like you're fighting Samus if she would be at full power, except you're Samus when you're very vulnerable right now. And that makes it all the more terrifying because you have no way of fighting back. The atmosphere, just the fact that the game takes away all of your abilities, leaves you vulnerable to basically something that is you at your strongest, just makes it all the better because you're all alone on this space station. The only thing that is there with you are these giant fucking parasites that pretty much just want you dead. Now, by the end of the game, you'll actually have gotten strong enough to where you're actually able to take on and beat the SAX. And it's pretty damn cool, too, because all that time you were powerless against it, but now you get to kick its ass for a change. Now, how do you think this game ends? Well, take a wild guess. An escape sequence, of course. What were you expecting?
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Samus, of course, escapes before the station filled with a bunch of creepy-ass parasites blows the fuck up. Now, just like Zero Mission, the game is a bit on the short side, especially if you know exactly what you're doing. But the game looks great, especially since it came out in like 2002. It's very ominous. It's got a lot of great, creepy music in it. This is definitely a good game, especially if you like horror games. In fact, there's no jump scares in the game like in a bunch of shitty modern movies. And there's not really any blood or gore. I mean, the game's rated T for teen, so there's definitely no extreme violence like in most modern horror games today. So yeah, it's like a horror game for Metroid fans.
Do it! Just do it!
In my opinion, when it comes to gameplay, this is the pinnacle of Metroid Prime games. The gameplay is polished, even more so than the first game, and of course it doesn't have the Wii Motion fucking controls. And the story is actually very interesting too. A bit on the strange side for a Metroid game. It almost feels like this is like a side quest for Samus or something. But it turns into this big crazy-ass journey that, of course, leads to Dark Samus. Now, Samus lands on this mysterious planet called Aether, and she has to go follow this little signal that she received from the military. And she eventually finds like this evil-looking portal. Ooh, spooky. And it leads to this dark world, and Dark Samus is there. And Samus nearly gets killed, but of course she just loses her powers instead, because she always has to lose her fucking powers. Just like every Metroid game has to end with a fucking escape sequence. But we'll get to that later, trust me. Anyway, so she figures out that there's like two sides to this planet, a light side and a dark side. So the game pretty much revolves around you finding your way through the dark side, doing shit in the dark side, finding these keys to enter these temples to fight a boss, and then going to the light side and bringing the light from the darkness back to the light side, because the dark stole the light. Does that make any sense? Because I'm not going to explain it any better than that. Okay, so anyways, there's like these alien dudes called the Luminoth, and they've been fighting these evil creatures called the Ing, I-N-G, and they're losing because the Ing have stolen their power from their machines, like their light, and they brought it to the Dark World to give the Dark World more power. That's why the Dark World's starting to take over the Light World. Are you lost yet? Do you think this belongs in a Metroid game? Well, it works. If I'm going to be honest with you, it definitely works out for the better. It's definitely confusing to explain. Like, I would have to make a full video about it, and I'm not about to do that. Just know the story is very weird, doesn't really belong in a Metroid game, but I think it works out really fucking well. Now, I do like these suits from the first game, but again, all they are is just kind of a palette swap. That black one is really fucking cool, though. I can't deny that. That is a fucking awesome looking suit. Well, anyways, the second game has the Various suit, which is Samus's OG suit, of course. Then there's the Dark suit, which looks fucking awesome as shit. And see, in this game, if Samus is in the Dark world and she steps out of a light barrier, then she'll slowly start to take damage. But with the Dark suit, she takes less damage, but she still takes damage. But the light suit, you take no damage, so you're invincible in the Dark world. And if I'm going to be honest, I think this is my favorite fucking suit. It's just fucking awesome looking. Holy shit. See, the game kind of has a Legend of Zelda feel to it. Like, you got to go get these keys, like the boss keys, to go fight the boss. Except you got to get 3 keys in the Dark world. Go to the Dark Temple, fight a boss, and then you get to take the light back to the light world. And the first boss is these big, fucky, giant worm monsters. And the second main guardian boss is this big, fucky butterfly thing. Now, of course, you have to fight sub-guardians and guardians as basically mini-bosses and sub-bosses before you fight the big dudes, and there's plenty of those in the game. And the third and final Dark Temple boss is this big fucking robot thing called Quadraxis. It's probably the best boss fight in the game, just because the damn thing is fucking massive. It is a fucking unit. That is, there's like 4 fucking phases to it, and you gotta fight them all while you're in the Dark world where there's no light portals or light barriers, so you're constantly losing health throughout the entire fight. So it adds that extra dose of tension because the boss fight can be really fucking long. After you beat all the Dark Temples, you get to go fight the final boss. The big old Emperor Ing himself. Aptly named the Ing Emperor. Well, of course, what else would he be fucking called? Well, he's like 3 goddamn phases, because of course he is. Luckily, you have the light suit, so you take no damage from being in the dark environment. And he's pretty easy. I mean, you'd expect a little bit harder since he is the final boss, right? Well, anyways, you gotta fight some big tentacle hentai monster at first. After that, he transforms into this big mushroom-looking cocoon thing that spews out fart gas. It's extremely easy. Well, then, of course, he transforms again into a big fucking giant spider-looking dude. I gotta say, I think the Annihilator Beam has to be the most overpowered fucking beam in a Metroid game. So after Samus steals back the light from the Dark World, that means that there's no more power for the Dark World, so it starts to, guess what? It starts to collapse, and you already know that now you have a goddamn time limit, because of course you do. Now, it's looking like Samus might be able to actually escape this fucking time, but of course some phasing blocks her path, and guess who it is?
There he is.
Well, if you don't know who the fuck that is, that's Dark Samus, of course, who you fight a grand total of 3 fucking times throughout the whole game, and this is the final time. And this is the final boss, too. This is what I'm fucking talking about, Metroid Prime 3. This should have been the fucking climax of that game. Instead, this game, this is the first time, technically, that Dark Samus herself has actually appeared in the fucking game series. Unless you count the Metroid Prime boss fight in the first Prime game, but I don't really, because that's not technically Dark Samus itself. Anyways, this boss fight feels like a goddamn epic boss fight. Unlike that shit that you do in Metroid Prime 3, Dark Samus doesn't take a whole lot of heap of fucking damage like she does in Metroid Prime 3. It's actually very intense because you have a fucking time limit, and the boss fight can drag on for a little while unless you can get lucky, because towards the end of the fight, you have to catch Phazon in your charge beam and shoot it back at Dark Samus, even though Dark Samus is made of phasing and absorbs phasing. Why is Dark Samus weak to phasing? Also, they do a really fucking cool little callback to the first game and Zero Mission because they remade the escape theme from those games for this boss fight. Like, here's the Zero Mission theme. And here's the final boss music in this game. I might be over-exaggerating a bit, but I fucking love that kind of shit in video games. When they have themes that call back to other games in the series, that's just fucking great. Anyway, Samus kills Dark Samus, quote, kills Dark Samus, and this is just so much better than fucking Metroid Prime 3. Such a better boss fight, and the way Dark Samus just disappears makes you think that she's actually fucking dead. And it's almost like they have a fucking bond in this game, and corruption at the end of it, Dark Samus kind of just blows up. Like, that's a good way to kill any kind of, like, characteristics between Dark Samus and regular Samus. Well, anyways, I might be looking too far into it. Of course, Samus escapes before the fucking Dark Planet explodes. And she's greeted by all the big old bug dudes, the Luminoths. And they basically say, wow, you're a fucking badass. And she's like, yeah, I know. And she just walks out all casually, and they, like do the whole gentleman bow to her. Like, they have, like, they show her some super respect, and she's just like, yeah, thanks, bros, see you later. And she does the whole awesome little, not even turning around to wave goodbye. It's just, oh, fuck. Look at that shit. Now, I'm someone who honestly kind of prefers the side-scroller Metroid gameplay style, but I can't deny that this one, Metroid Prime 2, just does everything right. It is perfection for a Metroid game.